Hello, good afternoon, good morning. Why do I always say this? Good afternoon, how are we all doing? Sorry about the delay, 20-minute delay there. Had a couple of things I needed to sort out. Took longer than expected. Nothing I could do, so you just had to wait. Sorry about that, but we are here now. We are good to go, and we'll run through the analysis in 1 second. Just let me make an announcement. But yeah, I hope everyone's had a good weekend, all that stuff. I've noticed something with my mic. I can turn the volume up. I'm turning it up now. Let me know if it's too loud or, too ear-rapey, and I'll turn it down for you. I think there's one issue though with the chat. I can't actually see the chat on OBS because it's not actually signed in. So I'm going to have to use it on my phone as well. So just give us 1 minute, guys. But yeah, as I said, hope everyone's had a good weekend. I hope you've been doing something that can actually get you towards your trading goals. There we are. I can see the chats. Never mind. All good. Right then. There we go. Should be good to go now. I can see the chats. Perfect. Sound. So, yeah, the sale. There's a lot of new Fast Track members now, which is great to hear. If you have joined over the weekend, make sure, it's very important, there's actionable steps at the end of every single lecture. Basically, like 90% of the lectures have an actionable step at the end of them. If you really want to progress, even if you don't understand why I'm telling you to do it, you need to take the actionable steps. Those actionable steps are the exact things I did when I was working on becoming profitable. When I started trading, these are the steps I took. When I started taking trading seriously, most of the actionable steps I'm telling you to do are the things I was doing then to get to here. So yeah, make sure you follow them. But the analysis, right? So we'll start off on the fundamentals as we always do. Today is a Canadian bank holiday. There's slightly less volume than usual, and we've had quite a lot of news this morning. A lot of JPY stuff, a lot of Asian stuff, Chinese. Then this morning we had, well, this is all day really, but it's out now I think. We had German prelim CPI, which is obviously quite big for the euro. Would have affected the GBP as well. Now, good afternoon. Now leading into tonight, into the end of New York and, Asian session. At 7 o'clock tonight, we have a Jerome Powell speech, which looks like it's going to be a lot longer than usual, or a lot longer than last time. I think the last speech we watched was 2 minutes long. I thought it was going to be like some proper speech, but it wasn't really. And he is actually, reading the description of this, you can see he is due to participate in a moderated discussion titled "A View from the Federal Reserve Board" at the National Association for Business Economics annual meeting in Nashville. Audience questions expected. So he's going to be getting asked questions. He's having an actual discussion, which means it's probably going to last a lot longer than last time. And as always, I've said this multiple times. You should know this by now. If you want to track any speech ever, go to financialjuice.com/home, and any important stuff. So when the speech is occurring, so like 5 to 7, you can see here. When that occurs at 5 to 7, we can load up Financial Juice, check this, and it will tell you exactly what you need to know. And it'll be in red, I assume. Good afternoon. But yeah, I assume it'll be in red because it's pretty important stuff, Jerome Powell. But yeah, if you want to check the speech, this is where to go, financialjuice.com. If you go there, just bookmark it, and you can just easily click it like I did then. But that's the speech. It looks like it's going to be a bit longer because it's a moderated discussion. And he's also going to be getting questioned. But yeah. So there's that to avoid in about 5 hours, for 4 hours now, I guess. And we don't really need to worry about it for our session because, I don't really trade. I don't sit here for 4 hours, do I? So we don't really need to worry about it typically. At 7, we might monitor it. I might monitor it at 7, see what's going on. But yeah, that's that. Now, the technicals, what is going on GJ? So It's a bit of a mess. The way I like to trade is I like to align as many time frames as possible with AMD, and any other real technical analysis, but typically AMD. So I'm going to walk you through the hourly first. Actually, I think I'm going to go to the daily, actually, yeah, or the weekly. We'll go to the weekly. Just have a quick glance at the monthly. So you can see this monthly fair value gap here. We've got that candle, this candle, that's the box. Going into the weekly, you can see we've wicked into it. We came into the premium zone, which is what I anticipated. I don't really use it much. We came into the premium zone, which is the top half of the fair value gap, the best place to look for sales. Then if we go to the 4 hour, we basically just wicked it and flipped and headed straight back down, giving us that candlestick pattern I wanted inside of the premium zone, which is exactly what I wanted. The only issue was it was very, very quick, and it wasn't related to any sort of like typical volume time. It was just the new leader of Japan, if you haven't heard already, Shigeru Ishiba, the new prime minister. He is more hawkish. I've explained this multiple times, but he's more hawkish, which means people are not really going to be buying into GJ as much. They're going to actually be selling. So the GJ is bearish fundamentally and technically. That's my overall bias. Now, this move down is very unsustainable. Now, if you know anything about trading, you should know that the market basically does two things. It seeks liquidity and seeks to fill imbalances. Now, this is one massive imbalance. So it's going to seek to fill this after it's just took liquidity here. You can see, if we drag this out a little bit, we're on the 4 hour chart, yeah? You can see we took external sell side here. We grabbed it, actually. It was a liquidity grab, not a sweep, because we didn't close below it. We just wicked it and flipped. So this is a valid liquidity grab of the sell side liquidity on the 4 hour time frame into the discount zone of this 4 hour fair value gap. This is what this line's for. Now, what I've done here is actually put it onto the box. Makes more sense. I'm going to do it here as well, just to keep things clean. So put the middle line in. I'm going to actually put that onto my setting so I can easily put it on. But as I said, I don't use it much. You probably never see me use it before, because it's not really that much of a difference between using it and not using it in profitability anyway. So what I was saying was, we came into the discount, which is the best place to buy, after taking out sell side, which is a bullish confluence, after creating a massive bearish imbalance, which is another bullish confluence, because we've got to come back and fill that at some point. So we've got 3 strong bullish confluences on the 4 hour, on the daily, higher time frame stuff. We've got 3 or 4 bullish confluences on the external structure. So we are anticipating a nice move up. Now, using the same equilibrium that we've used here, this is what it's called. It's called equilibrium. This is equilibrium because it's 50%. It's equal. This is the 50% line. So using equilibrium, again on here, you can see that I'm targeting the premium of this area, which is the best place to look for sells. And this also aligns with the draw on liquidity, so it's very highly that this is going to be respected. Now that means that we've took sell side here, internal, but externally we've also took sell side. So it is highly likely that we'll come into a bearish fair value gap after taking buy side and respect it. Because after taking buy side, you anticipate a bearish retracement. So it's very likely that we will continue down. There's a lot of reasons why. Very quickly, Shigeru Ishiba is hawkish, which means interest rates, which means a lower value or stronger yen, which is bearish for GJ. Then, my hand's all the way over it. Then there is obviously the monthly fair value gap, which we've came into the premium zone of, and flipped and rejected, which is bearish confluence number 2. Now that is the external structure, so very external, very long-term bearish. We also created a very big bearish imbalance, which obviously we need a retracement for, which is slightly bullish. But we've just took buy side externally. So this aligns with the draw on liquidity, basically. And we can basically look for sells inside of this premium zone. Now, the reason I'm using the equilibrium a little bit more here, well, here I'm using it just to kind of get you used to the idea of it. Same here. But here I've used it because this fair value gap is so big. Now, size doesn't really matter in terms of fair value gaps, like much at all. It's kind of what we focus on, what's going on inside of the fair value gap. But obviously, it's very big, and there's going to be a lot of people confused. This is basically the way to wrap your head around it. Draw this line and halfway line, and look for sells above and buys below it. Now, because it's bearish, we want to be targeting the top of it. And there's also a few fair value gaps here on the lower time frames. If we go to the 1 hour, there's a nice hourly fair value gap up here as well. There's a few fair value gaps for us to come back to, which we obviously need to fill. So there's a lot of confluences to get this bullish retracement up here, but there's a lot more confluence, or a stronger confluence, because it's all external structure suggesting that we're going to get a nice move down. Okay, so basically my sentiment for GJ has changed. I used to be extremely bullish. I've been bullish for like, I don't even know how long. I think I just stopped even caring about the external structure at some point, because it's just bullish. Like, you could just buy and it works. Now, because of Shigeru Shiba, because of this massive move down, and obviously this monthly fair value gap, it has really changed my perspective on GJ as a whole. So long term, I am looking for sells. But now moving on to like the 1 hour, the 15 minute, we've discussed all the external structure. So just a small recap, just to make sure we're all on the same page here. Monthly, weekly, bearish, daily, 4 hour, bullish retracement. Okay. So what we're trying to do for today is catch a bullish retracement. All right. A bullish retracement into this area. Why am I using the top half? Because this fair value gap is huge. And we want to just make the most sense of it. So it makes the most sense to come into this area up here after taking out sell side down here. And now we can align it with AMD. So now we've got all of that out the way, we can discuss AMD. What is going on? It's been very, very messy. This is obviously a manipulation. That's really all I need to say. But the only reason we didn't get a move up is just because it's very messy. Like, this has thrown a lot of people off. Shigeru Shiba, this is more like a fundamental news stuff. Shigeru Shiba was the underdog in all of this. So if you're in the UK, you know, Labour, Tories, Labour or Keir Starmer, he was the underdog in this. Now, a lot of people did want him to be Prime Minister, but he was the underdog. Tories are, you know, renowned for staying in office, kind of thing, staying in whatever it's called, Parliament. So Labour are the underdogs. Labour won, and that threw a lot of people off. The same thing in Japan. Think of Shigeru Shiba as Labour. Think of it like that kind of thing. Then obviously, they don't have the same policies. We won't get into the fucking policies and politics and all that shit. I'm talking about underdogs, all right? Labour were the underdogs in the UK, and if you want to understand what I mean by underdog in Japan, think of it as Shigeru Shiba being the leader of Labour. So that threw a lot of people off. No one really expected him to win, especially the people who are going to be working in banks, you know, the higher up people, all those people. They're not going to be really expecting that to happen. So it's probably something to do with the people, which means obviously it threw a lot of people off. That's why we had this massive move to the downside. And that's why we're going to be getting a little bit of messy price action over this week and next week as we take this into account. Now, the issue with this, and it's perfect timing, but obviously coming into November, we are going to be getting the presidential election. We're going to get the results for America, Trump and Kamala Harris. Now, that's going to be messing up the markets a lot. Maybe not as much on GJ as other pairs, but it will be messing up a lot. So we've got, you know, a nice 6-week schedule of ball aches in the market. We're going to be getting messy price action. I don't want you to anticipate any clean price action. It's going to be very hard to maneuver. But this is where the experience from backtesting starts to kick in. This is where your chart time starts to kick in. If you're actually an experienced trader, you'll understand what to do, what not to do, when to do it, and when not to do it. But as you're learning, this is probably the best time to learn, because this is probably the hardest. Now, the yen has had a complete sentiment change. It has been seen as the safe haven for a while. Now, what's going to actually confirm this sentiment is if in the next monetary policy, Shigeru Ishiba actually does increase the interest rates, because, that's why it's seen as a safe haven, because they don't really release increase interest rates. But if Shigeru Ishiba does that, or wants to do that, or makes it happen, if it happens, basically what I'm saying is, then that's going to basically confirm the sentiment that we're all kind of feeling, anticipating now. So we are long-term bearish. Price action is going to be very, very messy. That kind of explains this. Now, we've also had a bit of news, not really much for the yen, but we had a bit of news. And obviously, this is the second. You have to understand that the Asian session we've just had is the second session for them to digest what's just happened. So it's going to be messy. If you have any common sense, you'll understand it's going to be messy, because it's one, it's going to be filling a massive imbalance, but two, they're still trying to wrap their head around it. They're still trying to get this direction. Everyone's still trying to get on the same page, and that's going to take a while. So it's going to take a couple sessions of messy price action, and then things should start to clean up again. But what I was saying was, once it's cleaned up, we've got like 2 weeks of like peace until the presidential debate or whatever election happens, and that is really going to mess things up. Now, I haven't actually been trading Forex long enough to have actually had experience with the presidential elections, with the elections going on whilst I'm trading. So this is obviously coming into uncharted territory for me. I have backtested through it. I've tried to understand how it works. It basically is just messy. Like, it's just messy. Like, you see this manipulation. A clean manipulation would be what? Like, just straight down, straight back up, yeah? But what this is basically a lower time frame and also higher time frame liquidity sweep. So we're going to be staying here a lot longer. First of all, we didn't have volume. Second of all, the JPY second session digesting what's just happened. But this stuff tends to happen. We have messy movements. Time frames start getting unaligned. So this is really the time to basically sit back, sit on your hands, and wait for the perfect setup and just strike viciously when it happens. So now I've got that out the way, we can actually explain what's going on. So if you want to watch the market outlook, it is in the free Discord server. If you haven't watched it already, I do those daily. Now, in the market outlook yesterday for today, I was anticipating a nice move to the upside, because we've just took out this liquidity over here. Now, we did retrace a little bit, then eventually came back down to here, which is the discount zone of this fair value gap over here on this 1 hour. If I just draw that out, you can see we just came into the discount zone, found the best buying opportunities here, took that buy. I didn't take a buy, but everyone else clearly did. Now, that's the 1 hour accumulation, manipulation, and when we reach up here, we will have had the distribution move. So there's still a bit to go before we can confirm that was distribution, but it obviously is. But going to the 15, this is the thing. We've had a very clear accumulation right here. We had a very clear accumulation over here. So it's very hard because I can't really label it 1 hour AMD. I can't group it all together. But you just have to understand that this is 1 hour, 1 hour. This is 1 hour and 15. 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 and 5, 15 and 5 as well. So the 1 hour is suggesting we've got a distribution move, and we're anticipating it to go up to the premium zone of this 4 hour fair value gap. Yeah, standard. Now the 15 is suggesting we've had an accumulation here. This is AD, by the way, because this is the consolidation. We had an accumulation here, manipulation up here, then distribution to the downside, taking out this liquidity, and obviously coming into that discount zone of that 1 hour fair value gap. Now, you would have seen that coming if you knew exactly what I was just talking about. That's why I didn't take any trades. Hence, I mean, even though we had the candlestick pattern, I didn't take anything. Plus, we weren't in the volume time. Plus, I knew it was going to be a bit messy. There's a bunch of other reasons as well. More like I just want to secure this month undefeated. But yeah, so we've had accumulation, manipulation, expansion, accumulation, manipulation. This is what the 15 is suggesting. So the 15-minute, we can get rid of all this now. And we can get rid of this as well. The 15-minute, okay, is suggesting we've got a manipulation to the upside. And it's in a premium zone to look for the best area for sales. So it makes sense. All we'd really need to see is the candlestick pattern. Yeah. But I only want to take grade A setups. So if the 1 hour is saying that this is where the accumulation is, we want to come up to this, we want to come up to this area, and that's our distribution move. We don't have to come up to here. I want you to know that. We don't have to come up to here. But in distribution, we have to come up to here. So we still got a little bit to go. But the 15-minute is suggesting we've manipulated. So if we see a candlestick pattern now, a lot of people would get into a trade if we see in a morning star pattern, like, up, doji, down. A lot of people will get in blindly. But what they don't understand is that the 1 hour still needs to move up a little tiny bit. We still need to go up to here, okay? So therefore, we can't trade this because, one, I want to lock in an undefeated month. I'm not going to lie, it's true. Second of all, the 1 hour doesn't align with the 15-minute. That's more important. The 1 hour doesn't align. The 1 hour's still got a little bit to go. The 15's saying, hold on, this is the manipulation to the upside. We're going to distribute down now. So we need to basically get them to say the same thing. How do we do that? So what would make the most sense in this is that we have an accumulation and then we have a distribution straight to the upside. Now that would make sense for two reasons. One, there's going to be a lot of liquidity and volume in the markets already. It's already going to be there. Now you have to understand that when we take liquidity, that is to generate liquidity. That's to generate it. We don't take it just to have it. We take it to generate it. Sometimes there's enough. So what we could do is we could get an accumulation distribution move, which is AD on the 15-minute, or even just manipulate up to here and have this as the manipulation. You can look at it whatever way you want. That's the thing, but it still has to align. So we can call it AD, we can call it a manipulation to take out this liquidity up here, and that would both make perfect sense. They would both make perfect sense. Now, I think if we get this move up to here, then form a candlestick pattern, we can chill and maybe look for sells. But what I'd want to see is an accumulation on the 1 hour, manipulation to the upside, and this is also going to occur on the 15. That's what I want to see. I want to see the 1 hour saying the same thing as the 15. Think about this, right? The 4 hour, the daily, the 1 hour, they're all bigger than the 15. Yeah, so they're all going to trump it. They're all going to just do what they want, and the 15 is going to comply, basically. The 15's never really going to tell the 1 hour what to do. I want you to think of it like that, okay? The 15-minute is never going to tell the 1 hour what to do, whereas the daily or the 4 hour or the 1 hour is always going to tell the 15-minute what to do. Now, what I mean by that is, like, think of it like this. When we take a high out on the 1 hour, that is also a high on the 15-minute. But when we take a high out on the 15-minute, that's not always a high on the 1 hour. Do you understand that? And now the further away you get these time frames, the less that occurs, or the more that occurs, sorry. So the same thing happens with AMD. Just because we're manipulating to the upside on the 15-minute doesn't mean we're going to just distribute to the downside and have a downwards move on the 1 hour. Okay? But when we have a distribution on the 1 hour, that will always be a distribution on the 15-minute. It'll always be a move on the 15-minute. It's as simple as that. Okay. And that's what I want you to understand. So we can't really just use the 15-minute. We've got to align as many time frames as possible. The 15 and the 1 hour work the best because the 1 hour is every 4 of the 15. So if the 15-minute is saying we're manipulating to the upside, and the 1 hour is saying we're manipulating to the upside, then we can look for sells. But the 1 hour is saying, hold on, we've still got to go up a little bit here. So the best place for us to look for sells is inside of this fair value gap. Okay, That's the only place I'm going to be looking to take any trades, and you should understand why now, okay? So I hope that makes perfect sense to you. As I said, if you've got any questions, ask them. It's very important that, especially as a beginner trader, you understand everything, because if there's the slightest thing you've misinterpreted, misunderstood, or just don't understand at all, that's going to come back to bite you in the future, because there's going to be little gaps in your knowledge, and there's going to be little gaps here and there, and you end up going to have to sort those out anyway. So just ask the question. If there's anything you don't understand, ask the question. But in short, long-term bearish, short-term bullish, looking for sells up here, and only looking for sells up here, because we want to align the 15 and the 1 hour. And that's basically everything. I think that makes sense. That should cover everything we've discussed now. Okay. And that is it. Like, it was a bit of a mouthful, bit of a rant, bit of a speech. But I wanted to make sure you understand exactly how I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it. And now you should do. Okay. So yeah, we want to be looking for sells inside that red circle. And now we can move on. Bitcoin, what are you chatting? 3% down, that's crazy. As you can see right here, we got the exact move I was anticipating. What did I say on Friday, by the way, guys? What did I say on Friday? What did I say? I think it was everyone's fucking buzzing because Bitcoin's just took a high. But we actually know what we're talking about, and we know that we're going to move to the downside. You can see this. I called this on Bitcoin live on Friday. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin's took a high. No. We've just manipulated to the upside into a high time frame fair value gap. Took external liquidity, so we're expecting a bearish retracement. Look at what's happened, okay? A lot of people, if you've heard of TJR was buzzing because it's broke above some level. No disrespect to him, but, a bunch of other traders, yay, Bitcoin's took a high, woo! Idiots, man, idiots. I knew this was going to happen. You could have shorted it from when I said it. I literally called it. And that's it, really. We're still bearish. We still want to be coming down to here. Same as I said on the 1 hour. We got to come to this first. We got to take this out. Once we've took that out, we can look at other things. But, we've got to come take this out. So we are bearish. 1 hour. Fair value gap here. Looks like we've respected that. The only issue is, on the 15, we have literally just been melting to the downside. We want to wait for a consolidation. If you want to get the best entry, wait for a consolidation. We've got a consolidation right here, and this is obviously distribution to the downside. We've had enough liquidity because we've just took external structure. Yep. So there's enough reason to just continue straight down. If you want to get into this trade, you can either get in now because we've literally, I'm not going to do this, but you can get in now because we've literally just respected a fair value gap. Came into the premium, best place for sales, and look what happened. Okay. If we invert this fair value gap, that's even better. You can maybe even wait for this close, yeah, then wait for this retracement back to the inverted fair value gap, then take an entry. The only issue is if we take this side first, we're expecting a bullish retracement, so it wouldn't really be a good entry. What maybe you'd want to see is, let's say we close here, come up to here, then come down to here, and you can move to break even then and let it play out, yeah? That's what you'd want to see. Something along these lines. Targeting the bottom of the accumulation range on the 4 hour time frame, yeah? If you want to take that, take it. It might work. If you want to, take grade A setups, all that shit, I'd wait for a consolidation first. Gold, I don't want to trade gold. It's a mess, but come on, guys. Do I really need to say anything here? Do I really need to say anything? Really? Do I need to? I don't even think I'm not even going to say anything. I'm not going to say a thing. I'm just going to sit here for 2 seconds, okay? Look at it. Okay? And now we can move on. GBP USD. Bit of a mess. External accumulation starting to happen right here, which means we want to look for a place to manipulate into. There's two areas. There's this BPR here. Fair value gap, not BPR. And there's a few fair value gaps here. So if this is inverted, this is now obviously bullish, which means the best area to look for buys would be at the bottom. Well, it's standard anyway, really, isn't it? But so you maybe want to be looking for buys here, maybe here as well, somewhere along those lines. If we manipulate down, you want to look for buys here. Now we can manipulate up. There's obviously liquidity over here. But where can we manipulate up into? I can't really see much. There's a nice weekly fair value gap right here, which we have not come back to yet. Going back to the 4 hour. So if we manipulate into this, what you'd want to do is see a nice 4 hour candlestick pattern. Morning star probably, yeah. And then you can catch a move down to here maybe. And we might even continue up after that, but we'll get that cycle. So that's what's going on GU. Accumulation, looking to take out, looking to come into the bullish inverted fair value gap, and the bullish fair value gaps in that circle. Or we can manipulate into the weekly fair value gap, taking out external liquidity, and then we get a nice move to the downside. Make sense? USD JPY, basically GJ. Don't really want to look at that. So yeah, that's what's going on, guys. Hope that makes sense. We'll have to see how this plays out. Now, this obviously could distribute. I'm not saying it won't. I'm saying that the safest option is to wait for this 1 hour to align with it. Okay, so you can take it if you want to. My analysis is that we're going to come up to here first. Bitcoin, don't really need to say much, do I? And gold, I'm not telling you anything on gold. You should know this by now. But I called this live on Friday. So, yeah. But that's it, guys. You know, there's not really much else to discuss. I'm not going to sit here and waste your time blabbering on. I'm just sitting here waiting for a setup. The whole idea of trading is to not have to work much. Okay? Now, that's not... I got other things to do, basically. That's what I'm saying. We're going to sit here. We're going to end the stream. We're going to monitor the charts, talk about any setups in the free Discord. So if you're new here, if you're new to me, you've never seen me before, click the first link in the description, free Discord. Inside there, there's a free course. If you want to get to grips with the basics of this strategy, that's where to go. But yeah, bunch of new Fast Track members today. Not today, over the weekend. So, love to see you here. Happy to see you here. Happy you've joined. And now all you've got to do, if you've joined Fast Track, all you've got to do now is put in the work. It's literally there for you. It's there for you, telling you exactly what to do, when to do it. Now all you need to do is follow those instructions. You paid to get profitable. You will get profitable. All you need to do is put in the work, okay? Don't lie to yourself. Only you know. You and God, only you two know exactly the work you've been doing. So you know if you've done enough or not. So yeah. Price is now $300 for the lifetime access. Obviously, this is to reflect the value. Plus, there's going to be massive updates coming. There's trade recaps in there now, if anyone wants to join. But there is also going to be starting pre-New York streams. So half an hour or 1 hour before, I haven't really decided yet. Half an hour or 1 hour before we do this free New York stream, I'm going to be going live for my premium or for the course members. So we can have a private discussion about this and see what's going on. But yeah, I think that's it. That's all I've got to share with you. As I said, massive updates coming to the course. A complete rebuild coming by the end of the year, because obviously I'm getting better at teaching. So I need to actually make my lessons better. But yeah, that is me done, guys. I've done my analysis on GJ for you, showing you exactly what I'm thinking and why I'm thinking it. Please do one more pair. You rock, Joe. Cheers. Appreciate you, Gustavo. Please do one more pair. Tell me what pair to do. If it's a good pair, I'll do it. If it's a shit pair, then no. But yeah, that's all I got to say. Wait and see what pair this guy wants me to analyze. What else is there? I'm going to do a bonus lecture on the free course soon. That's in my plans. That's going to be coming this week at some point. It'll just be basically like a deeper understanding of all of it. If you want to catch that, it's in the free Discord. But yeah, like up the stream, guys. Whilst we're here, might as well like up the stream. It really does help out. I hate to ask, I barely ask the YouTube business. Yeah, I'll do EU. But the YouTube business, hate to ask. Not good at asking. But if you like the stream, really does help me out. I appreciate it. But yeah, EU. Let's have a quick look at EU. Now, EU is pretty much going to be the exact same as GU because of the USD. But see that? It's like, see what I mean? It's kind of like the GU's slightly retarded cousin. See? But this is called, I think it's a bearish flag. I don't really know. Bearish or bullish, one of the flags. I think it's bearish. I don't fucking know. Anyway, AMD, what is going on here? So if we draw this, shrink it down, you can see a nice accumulation going on here, okay? Nice accumulation. Now, that pretty much says the story, but we're going to look for areas to manipulate into. I think it's pretty much the same routine as GU, to be honest with you. Although there is no weekly fair value gap. Let's go to the daily. Not really much to the left-hand side. There's this, but, not as high probability we're going to respect it as we want, considering we've come into it multiple times. There's a nice BPR here. But it's a bit messy. Oh. See, we're inside these fair value gaps currently. So, I think we could manipulate to the upside. It's not impossible. But the best bet would be to wait for a manipulation to the downside. Now, I know that sounds unethical. Unorthodox. Unethical. It sounds unorthodox because we're inside a bearish fair value gap. We'd expect a distribution to the downside. But the only issue is, my setup. We have a nice accumulation, manipulate into a fair value gap, and then distribute the opposite direction. The thing is, we haven't got this fair value gap to come into. So that's the only issue. So if we manipulate to the upside, it's not really as perfect as a setup as I would like. Simply because we're not manipulating into a fair value gap because we're currently inside one, yeah? Now, if we manipulate to the downside, we've got these fair value gaps here, which kind of suggest otherwise, because they're bearish, would suggest a distribution to the downside. So what might even happen is we have enough liquidity. We've took out this liquidity up here. So we have enough liquidity to just get a nice move to the downside. So what might happen is we might just literally just melt to the downside. That would make perfect sense because we're respecting the distribution. We're respecting the bearish fair value gaps, and a manipulation to the downside, distribution to the upside after respecting a bearish fair value gap doesn't really make much sense, does it? But we could still, as I said. So I'm just going to drag this to the right-hand side here, yeah? And this is what also could happen. So we come down into a fair value gap of some sort. Probably like one down here. This would make a lot of sense. And then we have a distribution up to here. Just up to here. And then we continue, and then we go down, okay? You have to understand that the external structure is saying we're going to move down. So we take out this liquidity here, yeah? We take out this liquidity here as well. So we take out basically two lows, which is sell side, which is bullish, yeah? So if we manipulate down into this fair value gap over here, Now, the cool thing about this is there's 2 back-to-back ones here, or 3 even. So if we go up to the daily, there's probably a fair value gap here. As you can see, there is. So we're going to be prioritizing that one. If we just draw that fair value gap, then go back to the 4-hour. What would make the most sense is to take out this liquidity in a manipulation, then come into the discount, whatever it is, then take a buy up to here with a candlestick pattern, take a buy up to here, and target the top of this range. Then take that out. And continue down. Yeah, that's possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 is we just straight distribution to the downside, consolidate, manipulate up, and distribute down. So that's my analysis on EU. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit messy. Better to stay away from this because we're just monging around here inside of a fair value gap. It's not grade A. It's not grade A. It's not the top quality setup for me. It's not really the best thing. I would not take this personally. If you want to, you can. This is my idea of what's going to happen. Hope that makes sense, Bilk. I hope that makes sense. And to anyone else who was listening. But yeah, let's see what this is chatting though quick. Looks like we are retracing. We have got a 1-hour fair value gap here, which we got to come back to at some point. And we've just took 1 hour, so it makes sense to have a bearish retracement. But I do really think we're going to continue up to here. Fundamentally, as I said, 7 o'clock, keep your eyes peeled for Fed Chair Powell's speech. If you want to track that, go to financialjuice.com. I am no way affiliated with these at all. I don't work with them. I've messaged them and spoke to them. Is that fear and greed index, by the way, for anyone wondering? We're getting extremely greedy almost. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the Jerome Powell speech. And GJ is ultimately bearish. That's the short of my analysis. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it makes sense to you. As I said, if you've got any questions, tag me in the chats, ask someone else, ask me, whatever it is. Make sure you understand it. That's very important that you understand it. Don't let these gaps in your knowledge get away. Now, that's me done. I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. Don't forget to like the stream. If you're new here, free Discord, free course, first thing in the description. Like the stream, all that good stuff, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time, hopefully, okay? Take care. Have a nice night. Have a nice day.